Right, we arrived here about half an hour ago. You can see from the gate there's a squirrel on one of the feeders behind me. So awkward because we're exposed, getting to the vantage point. So we've managed to get here and the squirrel's managed to leg it, get away with it. It's still in the background, but there's too many trees and branch and brush between us and take a safe shot. So it will be back, but we're going to continue on now to the back end of the woods where there's another couple of feeders and we can approach them a little bit more stealthily, and we should be all right getting to those, not a problem. So here we go. You can see the bin on them. There's one or two left, but they'll keep coming. All these were fresh and full last night. So finally we're getting greys on this side. There's a couple of feeders down the bottom side, we're getting reds and greys. But that's a sit out job rather than taking from the gate. Okay. Right, the red squirrel in the UK, under a great threat from the grey squirrels, the endangered species. The invasive greys carry the squirrel pox, but don't suffer from it. We'll pass it on to onto the reds through various means, just in basically close contact, urine, faeces, blood. So it's very important that the reds are protected from the greys, and generally this is the most effective way of doing it. Usually put a few markers on the trees as I'm walking up, so as it overgrows, you lose where you are. So a marker on the tree, further stuck in the leaves, tells you where to turn in. We've had a bit of rain over the last few days, which is good because it dampens these leaves down. Normally walking on these leaves is like walking on cornflakes, and it makes such a row. The twigs are still quite dry and snappy when you stand on them, but the leaves are much quieter now. Plus we would try and walk on some live grass rather than dead grass, just to keep us noise down as we get to the hide. Okay. Right, come on, let's go. The greys were introduced into the UK from the USA back in the 1800s, and the numbers have significantly increased since then. You're looking at probably 2.5 million greys in the UK, whereas the reds are just standing around about 140,000. If you go back to like 1943, the whole country has probably got a good head of red squirrels. Now there's just very small pockets. The main area of reds are up in Scotland. Welcome to my place. We've got two feeders set up down here. Both got cameras on them. One's about 47 yards, one's 29 yards. All well within range of this, but then we get some further down the track, might be further, that's why we're using the FAC. Because we could have taken some up to 70, 80 yards perhaps, but hopefully not. Let's try and keep it simple. But there's none here at the moment, but they'll be coming, definitely. Okay, alright, just gonna get myself comfortable. Usually find you can, as soon as you get here, you might have to wait 20 minutes, half an hour before they start showing again. Sometimes I've been sat out all day for one squirrel when it's been in an area that's been heavily populated with reds. One grey squirrel can make a massive difference to them, can wipe all the colony out. So it's one of those days you have to spend a lot of time on it. But they've got to feed, they'll be here this morning. They've been showing their cameras all the time. through a thermal, quite a way back, probably 100 yards away in the deep of the woods. It's coming this way, it'll be coming slowly, but hopefully it'll be in range. That's the beauty of the thermal. You can pick it up from 100 yards away, get yourself prepared and ready for the shot without, you know, doing too much movement at the last minute. Yeah, the grey squirrels not only affect the reds, but they also affect the fauna and flora everywhere. They'll take songbirds' eggs, songbirds' chicks. Saplings will strip bark from trees, young sapling trees, like I just said, they'll just chew them and there's nothing left. So it's not just the reds, there's a various other amounts of things that they do disturb. There's plenty of food on the floor. So he's probably taking that before he goes up to the feeder. That's that one gone. There's been two showing on the cameras. They've always been in together all the time. There's a third one, but it's usually two together, so there should be another one following it soon. I took that one on the ground rather than waiting to go up in the air because it fell off the ground. Fell to the ground from the feeder. Then to make an awful noise, and the other squirrel might see it, whereas at the moment it's hidden behind a stump, so it might not see it, so it'll come in. Just shows you the importance of getting that last grey, because like 10-15 minutes afterwards a red's been on the same feeder, so that's what we're doing this for. The disease is just passed on just by association and being in close contact, so that's one less chance of it happening. So even though the red's hopped off, it'll be back and hopefully we'll get some more footage of it. Bristol conservation, it's quite a wide and varied thing. It's obviously we're controlling the greys by various methods. We use traps and we actually shoot them as well. Anything that's trapped, we use live traps and then we have to dispatch them humanely. So, because if you have a trap, there's no guarantee that it's just going to be a grey that gets in there. A red can get in there as well, so we have to make sure we can release the red. Sometimes it's a good thing to catch a red. We inspect it, check it for its health, make sure it's all healthy and okay, then send it on its merry way. Greys aren't so lucky; they have to be dispatched. So yeah, that's basically what we do. There's also the supplementary feeding. Which we put the feed out for the greys around the feeders and the traps. It also supplementary feeds the reds, so it helps them along and helps them maintain their presence. Oh, that's number two. That's came in the far feeder at about 47 yards. I saw it coming from the background again, from way out, just as a small dot. But it was that bright it had to be a squirrel. Next thing I could see this on the ground. It was up the ladder to the feeder, sat on the top. Schwacked him, to coin a phrase. So that's two down. Quite happy with that, and one red seen. Happy days. The work I've done has been quite successful in my mind. I've got quite a few areas that when I first started doing this work, there was quite a heavy amount of greys in the area. The trail cams and my own physical sightings now are almost down to zero in quite a few of these areas, and the reds have increased. So, and it's been a positive way that we've worked, and it's really working. I'm finding myself able to leave these areas and not visit them as much as I used to, and concentrate on new areas like this one, which has got it's had a huge amount of greys in the area for the size of the wood, but thankfully we're on top of those. Right, quite a good morning really. We've been here a couple of hours probably. 2 squirrels, 2 females, 2 large females. Sat and hide. The hide's roughly about 29 metres to the first one, 47 metres to the second one. The thermal spotter picked them coming from way out in the woods, gives me plenty of chance to get myself ready to get the gun on target and prepared, get it cocked. And then obviously the gun I'm using is the Air Arms S510 Tactical with a Hawk Sidewinder 4.5 to 14 scope. Fantastic kit, fantastic setup, worked really well together. It's a 2.25 caliber FAC, which gives me that extra little bit of zip for downfield if we're going to need longer shots, but these are relatively straightforward shots this morning. But all in all, a good day. Two squirrels. It's sort of around about the numbers we do get when we're out. There's not a massive amount of grey activity in this little wood. I've taken quite a few out already, so that's one of the reasons. Another reason is that there's not that many to start with. So yeah, we've also seen a red this morning, which was quite good. Which is another reason why we need to get rid of these greys. One grey is one grey too many. One grey can wipe a whole colony of reds out if they start sharing things like the feeders and the rest of the areas. So yeah, all in all, good result. Happy with that. While we're talking about the other parts of the kit I've been using, this is another essential part of kit that we use for for red squirrel conservation. This is the Spy Point trail cam. It's got a solar panel on the top, which recharges the batteries, which is an excellent feature. It's got an internal SD card which can download pictures from. It also sends pictures remotely to my telephone and lets me know when there's squirrel activity. Absolute essential part of the thing. It's really up there with the thermal spotters, as probably a game changer. Got them positioned about 6 metres away from a feeder, gives a nice spread, and we can see everything that's going off, and it sends me pictures in real time, so I can be the other end of town, get a signal from the spy point, and I can be here within 10-15 minutes, and hopefully the squirrel's still here. If it's not, it will be. They generally come back within every hour. So yeah, excellent piece of kit. It makes me really aware. More efficient, more effective, more professional. Right, the first thing when I get a new wood or any area, I'll do a recce on the area and see what's the likely area where the greys and reds will be, and then we'll set up. We'll find a bit of a clearing, what looks promising. Look around for drays and bobbles in trees where you think that greys or reds might be holed up. Like I said, it's not just about controlling the greys, it's also supplementary feeding and looking after the reds and making sure they're safe. So we'll come up and I'll put a feeder on, and I'll not put a trap up straight away because I don't want to trap reds unnecessary, but I'll put a trail cam taking care of any images or any movements that's in the area, and then I'll come back a couple of days later, check the SD cards. And in the past I don't know if it's lucky or unlucky enough, but I've had like probably 1,200 images I've had to sift through and get, and I think 80% of those was reds in one area and no greys. So that was good, so we could just leave the feeder, not bother with the trap. Other areas it's completely the opposite way around, and then I'm very proactive in what I do. I don't wait for phone calls and things like that, although I will react to those, but I'm proactive in the fact I will get on the job before it becomes a problem, and I think that's why we've been so successful in the past in areas where the reds have returned and the greys have disappeared. So another important part of what we do is be able to get an vantage point over feeders and traps and cameras. And I'll usually set up a hide. Sometimes I'll use natural hides. There's like various areas in the woods. You'll see where branches have fallen down, and it's like fern trees or oak tree, whatever tree it is. There's a bit of foliage left on it. You can use that as a support, and you've got a little bit of cover. Generally though, in this wood, I'll build my own. I'll get some fallen branches, try and make it as natural as possible. I'll get some sort of camo netting, throw it over, tie it in place, get myself in a comfortable position. So you can, there's nothing better than having a comfortable shot. An uncomfortable shot is generally going to be a missed shot. So we'll get as comfortable as possible. Make sure we hide the movement, because the squirrels will pick up on movement more than they do pick up on sound. I'm not saying be as noisy as you can. Just keep the noise to a minimum and keep the movement to even more of a minimum. Get in the hide, sit there, and like this morning we was there 20 minutes, 2 squirrels turned up one after the other, just as the trail cam indicated it would do, and it was quite a successful morning. There's a couple of items we need to mention and touch on that's really made a big impact on the squirrel ranger's ability to be able to carry out the red squirrel conservation. And that is the thermal spotters. A quality thermal spotter, you can spot the squirrels coming from hundreds of yards away, get yourself in the hide or wherever you are, perhaps behind a tree, and you're prepared, ready. You don't have to be moving around at the last minute, taking a shot. And, even though it's a grey, you don't want to wound it, you want an instant humane kill. And the trail cameras on top of that, they're another game changer, up there with the thermals, because it gives you the information. You can take the information home, download it from the SD card, work out a plan when you need to be back, and as we've done this morning, been extremely successful. So these are 2 things that's really helped us these days. And then obviously, because you cannot tell for 100% whether it's a grey or a red through the thermal, and that's why we don't shoot with thermal scopes. A pair of binoculars, such as these, will confirm whether it's red, grey, and then you're on it. We're sorted. Right. Without the red squirrel conservation that we're doing, studies are showing that in 10 years' time there will be no red squirrels in the country. Which would be a sad state of affairs. The indigenous to this country, they belong here. They've been here 10,000 years. And to think in 10 years' time, if this work doesn't carry on, then they'll be gone. And that'll be a sad day.